The Boeing Company is an American-established multinational corporation that serves the purpose of inventing, manufacturing, and selling aircraft such as aeroplanes and rotorcraft, as well as rockets, satellites, telecommunications equipment, and missiles. The Boeing Company was established on the 15th of July 1916, its original founder's name being William Boeing. The Boeing Company later went on to merge with a separate aerospace manufacturer by the name of McDonnell Douglas in the year 1997 on the 1st of August. The Boeing Company specializes into 4 separate departments: Boeing Commercial Airplanes, Boeing Defense, Space and Security, Boeing Global Services, and Boeing Capital. The Boeing Commercial Airplanes department's primary function is to sell passenger jet airliners and also business jets, which are designed to carry a smaller group of people at a higher premium price. This department employs around 36,000 people and generates around $62.286 billion in revenue for the Boeing Company. We then have the Boeing Defense, Space and Security Department, formerly known as the Boeing Integrated Defense Systems Department, or IDS. This department was originally formed in 2002 and makes the Boeing Company the second largest defense contractor in the world, and is responsible for generating $21.057 billion in revenue for the Boeing Company. This department employs over 50,000 people and is responsible for the production of heavily used military defense systems and aircraft, such as the AN/TWQ-1 Avenger and the Boeing AH-64 Apache. Next, we have the Boeing Global Services Department, which specializes in providing support for airliners all across the globe by producing technology to help manage airport fleets and operations and ensure the correct maintenance and flight decisions are being made for a smooth overall operation. This department began operations in 2017 and has since generated a substantial amount of revenue for the Boeing Company, with $16.3 billion in 2021 alone. Finally, we have the Boeing Capital Department, which specializes in asset-based leasing and lending services. This financial department was established in 1968 and holds just 160 employees and has generated $173 million in revenue for the Boeing Company. In the rest of this presentation, we'll be discussing the aerospace and defense sector and going into it in more in-depth industry overview and development updates. Tarun, Alana, Emily, and Wojtek will be giving you an overview of 2 companies and their performance, in this case being Lockheed Martin and Boeing, and giving you recent company news and developments, sustainability factors affecting the industry, and some other statistics.
Good morning, my name is Tarun Suresh Kumar. In this presentation, we will be looking at the overview and the market performance of Boeing and Lockheed Martin. Boeing, a global aerospace leader, designs, manufactures, and services commercial airplanes, defense products, and space systems for the customers in over 150 countries. As a leading US exporter, the company taps into the talent of global supplier base to advance economic opportunity, sustainability, and the community impact. Boeing's diverse workspace is dedicated to innovating for the future, leading with sustainability and cultivating a culture founded on the company's core values of safety, quality, and integrity. Boeing is divided into 3 business units: commercial airplanes, defense, space and security, and Boeing Global Services, which started operations on July 1st, 2017. Boeing Capital Corporation, a global provider for financial solutions, is assisting these units. Boeing reportedly in its first quarterly profit in almost 2 years on Wednesday, July 28, 2021, boosted by a surge in deliveries of commercial jetliners as airliners began recovering from pandemic slump and higher sales in the company's other divisions. The plane manufacturer snapped 6 consecutive quarters of losses, swinging to a profit of $567 million for the second quarter for the net loss of $2.96 billion in the quarter a year ago as air travel was plunging early in the pandemic. Revenue rose 44% to nearly $17 billion from $11.8 billion a year earlier, beating analyst estimates of $16.854 billion. Boeing's share rose to 4.2% to a close of $231.57 on Wednesday, while the broader market was little changed. Lockheed Martin is a global security and aerospace company with its headquarters in Bethesda, Maryland. It employs about 114,000 people worldwide and focuses primarily on the research, design, development, manufacture, integrations, and the maintenance of advanced technology systems, products, and services. Lockheed Martin's mission is to assist their customers in keeping people safe. They resolve complicated problems, enhance scientific knowledge, and provide creative solutions. The operational divisions of Lockheed Martin are divided into broad business sectors. Aeronautics, with projected 2021 revenue of about $26.7 billion, will include the tactical aircraft, airlift sustainment, and lines of business for aeronautical research and development. Missiles and Fires Control, with projected revenue of $11.7 billion in 2021, is a home to high-profile projects, including the PAC-3 missile and the Durman high-altitude defense system. With the projected revenues of $16.8 billion by 2021, Rotary and Mission Systems will offer Silk of Sky helicopters, maritime systems, sensors, radar systems, and command control, combat training and simulations, undersea systems, and a full spectrum of cyber capabilities. Space, which is expected to generate 11.8 billion in revenue in 2021, consists the lines of business for deep space exploration, strategic missiles, mission solutions, and creation of commercial and government satellites. The financial performance of Lockheed Martin is 2021, their net sales was 67 billion, with their net earnings being 6.3 billion, with also a backlog of 135 billion. And the company's cash flow from operations is projected to be 9.2 billion, with the stock ticker symbol LMT on the New York Stock Exchange, ranking Lockheed Martin 49th on the 2021 Fortune 500 list of the largest industrial corporation. I really hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope it was helpful. Thank you very much. My name is Tarun.
Aerospace and defence has seemingly become an industry under a microscope in regards to sustainability in recent decades. With an ever-increasing necessity to become greener, contractors are under pressure to innovate and reduce their emissions to scale back the effect they have on the environment. The aerospace industry is a huge contributor to global carbon emissions, with figures of around 2% of all man-made CO2 emissions being attributed to aviation, which is expected to rise to 22% in coming decades. However, airplane manufacturers are looking towards the future and at how they can implement ideas that are more sustainable. According to Forbes, the International Air Transport Association has approved a plan for the industry to become net zero by 2050. This is to be achieved through multiple avenues such as refining the manufacturing process and banning flights under 500 miles, to more importantly, changing the fuel aircrafts rely on. Unfortunately, a downside of these more sustainable measures is the potential loss of income. According to Deloitte, revenue streams could take a hit of $40 billion, a substantial amount that could cost over 100,000 jobs. However, there is an upside. In their report, Decarbonising Aerospace, Deloitte found that these measures could positively affect revenue long term, and that by demonstrating sustainable initiatives, companies will likely have a competitive advantage over the market in the future. It is also important to focus on the defence side of the industry when it comes to sustainability factors. Currently, the defence industry contributes 2% of the annual global CO2 emissions, with that figure expected to rise to 25% by 2050. BCG reports, however, that this may change as investors look to have a green portfolio. Since their place in the market is often seen as the most important thing for a company, defence contractors will have to adapt to more modern ideas to ensure that they can remain profitable. An example of this is the HMS Tamar, a warship that has managed to reduce nitrogen dioxide emissions by 97%. Ultimately, most executives see going green as profitable, and failing to do so will decrease their margins in years to come as investors look at more sustainable alternatives. Therefore, let's look at some key players on the aerospace and defence market and how they look to become more sustainable. Boeing, for example, plan to move to SAF, or sustainable aviation fuel. Fuel of this kind is made from feedstocks such as plant and animal oil. Boeing's plans contradict other major manufacturers, Airbus, as they plan to move to hydrogen propulsion by 2035. Boeing's reasoning for this is the cost of converting their aircraft to hydrogen power, which could amount to $2 trillion. Boeing's plans still could be costly, however, as SAFs can cost up to 3 times the price of standard kerosene. Regardless of how Boeing achieve their sustainability goals, it is likely to weaken their position in the market, as eco-friendly alternatives are nowhere near as profitable as reliance on fossil fuels. Like Boeing, Lockheed Martin are a company committed to sustainability. According to their sustainability report, the Go Green program aims to reduce emissions by 70% by 2030, a goal that appears to be within reach since they managed to reduce carbon emissions by 47% in the last year. The company also aims to use renewable power for 30% of its electricity consumption. It is achieving this through its 13 on-site solar power farms that produces in total 10.1 megawatts. Lockheed Martin are also building a single giant solar farm that will produce 20 megawatts, which will be enough renewable power to meet their 30% target. Finally, the company also plans to venture into the market of solar-powered submarines, meaning that they plan to not only offset their own emissions, but to make their products more sustainable.
Lockheed Martin are an American aerospace company that was founded in 1995. Lockheed are primarily focused on research, design, development, manufacture, integration, and sustainment of advanced technological systems, products, and services. They are currently providing NASA with the Orion space capsule for the Artemis missions. Their current mission statement is to solve complex challenges, advance scientific discovery, and deliver innovative solutions to help our customers keep people safe. They have suppliers in every US state throughout over 60 countries, and around the rest of the world they have over 900 suppliers, creating a supply of around 13,700 active suppliers for over 370 facilities. They support around 114,000 employees worldwide. In 2021, their net sales was $67.044 billion. This was split into 4 different departments, with aeronautics being the biggest department, bringing in $26.7 billion. This included sales of tactical aircraft and sustainment in aeronautical research. Their missiles and fire control department brought in $11.7 billion, with high-profile sales consisting of the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System and PAC-3 missiles. The Rotary and Mission Systems department brought in $16.8 billion, with sales of maritime systems, sensors, radar systems, combat simulation and training, as well as undersea systems and full-spectrum cyber capabilities. Their Space Department brought in $11.8 billion, with development of commercial and government satellites, missiles and deep space exploration lines of business. Their net earnings were $6.315 billion and their cash flow from operations was $9.2 billion. They were ranked 49th out of 500 in the Fortune 500 list.
Boeing has been a frequent source of speculation in the news for the last few years, especially when looking at the Boeing 797. Once rumoured to be announced at the 2019 Paris Air Show, we now know that the programme has suffered some recent setbacks. One of these was Rolls-Royce's decision to withdraw from the new plane's engine competition. As a result, only Pratt & Whitney and CFM remain in competition to advance the new model. It has also faced competition with Airbus, such as the Airbus A321XLR. Boeing had planned to release the 797 around the same time as the A321XLR, but when Airbus outspaced Boeing on the release of the aircraft, Boeing took the opportunity to re-evaluate its design and look for competitive advantage. If Boeing could bring the 797 to market before Airbus XLR, then it might as well take its time and make the 797 better. Lockheed Martin has made huge strides in developing their technology in recent years. One example is the optionally piloted Black Hawk helicopter, which could change the way the US Army resupplies forward forces, using helicopters that could be flown with or without pilots on board. DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and Sikorsky, a Lockheed Martin company, successfully demonstrated Sikorsky's Matrix TM technology autonomy system during a series of demonstrations in 2022. Pilots landed the aircraft and then flipped a switch in the cockpit to give the flight computer control. The fully anonymous Black Hawk delivered internal and external cargo loads over extended distances at a speed of 100 knots while avoiding fictitious buildings and rerouting in real time. The team showed how a ground operator with a secure radio and tablet can take control of the uncrewed helicopter, commanded to release a sling load and then land to evacuate the casualty.